Hi, I am Brent Leary, and I have the pleasure of sitting here with Marcus Lemonis. We're here at before his keynote at ZeroCon in Austin, Texas.
Cold Austin, Texas.
It is kind of cold.
Cold.
It's
Austin,
not usually
Texas.
like this, what
no.
you told me. But anyway, it's a pleasure.
Feels more like the North Pole than South by Southwest, right?
Well, you know, I don't. At least I'm wearing a T-shirt, so I don't feel. Anyway, but it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And so I know there's probably a lot of people out there who already know who you are, but maybe we can get just a high overview of your personal background.
Well, you know, just kind of going with that question or that comment alone, I always tell people in business that even if you think that people know who you are, it's always good to introduce yourself again because there's new players. And so if you think about yourself as a business owner, you want to always be reintroducing yourself to somebody. They may have forgotten, they may have been mad at you. So I'm Marcus Lemonis, and I am I don't even know how I would describe myself. I would say I'm just a normal guy like everybody else that decided that small business was the most important thing in my life. And you know, when we're all growing up, our mothers will ask us, you know, what are you going to make of yourself? What are you going to do with yourself? And I struggled for years to answer that question. And as I got a little bit older and I started to understand who I was, I realized that my purpose in life was to stick up for the little guy. And that was sort of me when I was younger, you know. I spend really the bulk of my time investing in small business. It is my hobby. It is my passion. It is the thing I love to do more than anything else.
When did you decide that you wanted to go into small business? How early was it when that happened?
You know, it really came right outside of the 2008-2009 market collapse.
Wow.
You know, we were all watching the news, and it was, you know, Fortune 100 companies, and their stock is down, and the banks are closing. And I felt like the news was very one-sided as it related to big business, and that nobody was talking about Main Street, and nobody was talking about small-town businesses. And you know, over 90% of this country is involved in small business one way or the other. And I didn't think anybody was talking about it. And I think it was that, in that moment where I said, you know, somebody's got to actually be a champion for this in a different way. The secret behind what I do today, and it's something that I don't talk about a lot, is that the reason I decided to do the show is it was one giant social experiment.
Wow. It
really isn't about small business. It is about people and how business can transform, good or bad, how they can transform people. And the social experiment, and I said when I got to 100 episodes, I would talk about it a little more. I'm at 78. The social experiment really is, how do people deal with opportunity? And how do they deal with their past? And how does opportunity and their past sort of intersect? You go into businesses today and they'll all tell you, I can't get a loan, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And it's a little bit of, I don't want to call it a sob story, but I'll call it a excuse fill, right? And I buy off on those excuses because I make them the same way. And so what I wanted to do is really understand how people function. And if you've ever seen the show The Profit, it really is about people more than it's about business. Yesterday, we got nominated for a Critics' Choice Award, which is like
congratulations,
kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And a number of the critics, it's not something you apply for, and so a number of the critics are really talking about the fact that it's a show that has business as a backdrop, and it's really about people.
I was going to say,
really
some of the really interesting episodes always have the family dynamic. So when you have business, it's tough enough when you're trying to go into business and stay in business. But how does the family dynamic play a role in the success? And how difficult is it to get the family dynamic back on track once it's kind of gotten off track?
You know, I've long told people that the reason that small businesses are largely family businesses, this is like this weird kind of combination, is that when like you and I or anybody else starts a small business, we don't have any money, we can't hire any employees, so we're asking our mom, our dad, our aunt, our uncle, our sister, our kids, hey, I need you to pitch in. Or you handle marketing, or you handle the inventory. And by definition, it sort of becomes a family business, even if it's a part-time job for most of the people that work there. And I think what ends up happening is, families are interesting because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, there is still a pecking order in a family, right? Like at least in my family, my mom's in charge. There's no question about it. There's not any confusion about it.
Not up for debate or anything.
But then you start getting brother-in-laws, sisters-in-laws, kids, son, and you have your life on the line in this business, and not everybody's necessarily performing. It's very difficult to tell your son, your daughter, or your wife, or your husband, hey, I think you need to go.
Mm. But that's the job that you kind of help them do.
That's why I think people call me. I was laughing the other day. I said, people call me because they want me to do the dirty work. It's like, I really want my wife to be fired, but I don't want to do it. So you do it. It's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Well, think about, is it the joy of having them succeed after all the things they go through? How does that make you feel? I know it's got to make them feel good, but how does it help make you feel?
Success for me in my journey is really about people's personal transformation. And if they have personal transformation, the business usually will succeed. Most people, when they watch a television show about business investing, it's like, okay, how much did you invest? How much money did we make? What was the return? What are the percentages? And there's a moment where that's relevant. But the real moment is, how do you take somebody who doesn't have confidence in themselves, who doesn't have a process in place, who doesn't clearly see where they want to go, but they have good ideas, and get them to just discover themselves? In more cases than not, I'm not telling people what to do. I'm telling them how I want them to think differently. Mm-hmm. And then what they do with that is up to them. But it's satisfying for me.
Are you surprised when they know your track record, they know you have this level of success, when you suggest things and recommend things, and then they kind of fight you?
I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why. If any of us had some guy come into their business after we've been in business for 15 years and tell us how wrong we were and we were doing something wrong, we wouldn't be that crazy about it either, right? And so it's very easy for all of us to sit and watch people who have taken a huge risk by making themselves vulnerable, putting themselves on television, having the error of their ways or the error of their character be exposed. And that's why I'm usually a lot nicer about it, at least early on. Mm-hmm. Because I think to myself, like, if that was me, I wouldn't want somebody telling me how dumb I was. And it's funny because I love to compare our show to other shows where people invest in small businesses and point out that you don't have to tell somebody how dumb they are to get the point across. Okay. You don't have to tell somebody that it's the stupidest idea you've ever seen. You're better off telling people, okay, why did you have this idea? And why did you think it was going to work? Like, man, I just have to tell you, 8-track cassettes, like, they're not going to work. But I understand, but tell me why you did it.
Right.
And you got to get inside their head to understand what their logic was. Right. Well, I really like music. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think the key is, how do you get people to actually think differently? That's the key for me.
Let's talk a little bit about technology in businesses, particularly small business. We're at a small business technology conference.
Yeah.
Do you see small businesses leveraging technology as well as they can?
I think that I'll include myself in this answer.
Yeah.
I think that technology is an intimidating thing. And I think that in order for companies to be successful in selling their technology, they have to make the user friendliness of it and the humanity of it seem real. When you put a computer, like, we just had a brief conversation about this camera.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it. I'm intimidated by it. I think when you're talking about systems and process and technology and accounting, you have to really make it seem simpler than it is. And more importantly, more affordable. Mm-hmm. So most small businesses do not venture into technology because they think, I either A, can't afford the initial investment, or B, I can't afford the recurring investment. And I think as entrepreneurs, all of us included, we have to make the technology and the process of accounting and systems seem manageable and affordable. And I think that's why conferences like this do that, is they're trying to communicate to people that it doesn't have to be, it isn't all Dell.
Right.
Right? It isn't all Oracle, and it isn't all Salesforce, which all usually equate to big capital expenditures, big monthly fees. There are systems and solutions for small businesses. And if they want to become a big business, they better get after it.
You're about to go on the edge and speak to hundreds of small business advisors, accounting advisors. What do you plan to tell these folks?
Well, I think the biggest advice that I would give small business advisors and accounting advisors is understand their audience and get to know their clients better, and understand why their clients do what they do, and build a relationship with them. And we'll talk about it during my presentation, but vulnerability for me is the absolute holy grail key to fixing people. And if you're selling a product or service and you're really just selling the product or service, then I think your penetration success is going to be low. But if we can connect on a human level about our lives, about our hardships, about things that have happened to us.
Our favorite football teams.
Yeah, just about anything. What you're essentially doing is you're building trust.
Right.
And then once you build that trust, you're saying, look, man, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you kind of don't know your numbers, and there's no system in place, and you have no strategy, and I really want you to be successful, and I'm in this weird spot because we have a relationship and I have this product. So you tell me how you want this relationship to go. If you want me to just be your friend and that's it, I'm open to that. If you want me to try to help you improve your business as your friend, I'm open to that as well. And I think that vulnerability and that full disclosure and that transparency would make me open up. Like if you said to me, I can help make your businesses better, I'd be like, all right, I don't know everything. I think the last piece of advice that I would give people is small business owners don't want to feel like they're dumb. Right. And they don't want to feel insecure. And they don't want to feel like they've made a bunch of mistakes. And so you have to go on this journey with them where they understand that every decision they made had a plus and a minus, and we're going to celebrate the pluses and we're going to learn from the minuses, and we're not going to point out your frailties. If you can get on the level with them, then it changes. If you go in there like, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't have this right, and you don't have that right, it's like, look, I don't need to know that I'm in trouble. I knew I was in trouble before you came. And so that's, I think, the key.
Right.
And that's what I would tell anybody.
So what big companies that are doing things successfully in your mind are companies that small businesses really look at, emulate, and take lessons from?
Rather than picking a specific business,
okay,
I'll pick companies that understand two fundamental things. One, the importance of customer data and how to accumulate it and how to mine it and how to use it and how to understand it to improve your ROI on marketing, to improve the retention of those customers. But before any of that happens, you have to understand your business. And so many businesses fail to put their numbers and their cash flow and their balance sheet into systems where they truly have this dashboard. For me, financial statements are a necessary evil. You don't go to the doctor without all sorts of information, and your doctor doesn't give you a diagnosis without running a bunch of tests. Right. And he doesn't give you a new diet or a new regimen without having all the information. And I apply that to business. You can't understand where to go in your business, who to hire, who to fire, what to do, how to change things, what to improve, how to change your prices, what products to drop, what products to launch. You don't understand any of that if you don't have the footprint of what your business is live. And so I know people hate accounting. I really do. I know they hate it. But then you shouldn't be in business. It really is one of those things where you just like, I don't like broccoli, but my mom used to make me eat it.
It'll make you stronger.
It'll make you smarter.
Right.
And if you own your company 100%, you're obligated to yourself. If you have other investors, it's a mandate. Like, I won't do business with people, not even as a customer, Like if I have a big retail business and there's small businesses that sell products, unless I know that they understand their business and they have the accounting systems in place. Because if I start doing business with you and I buy your product and I put it on my shelves, and then all of a sudden you don't have your act together and you go out of business, like I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so give me out to the future 2-3 years. What are going to be the biggest challenges in that time period for small businesses to get over so that they are successful in the future?
I think one is you are going to have to adopt a level of technology that keeps you up to date and competitive with the other folks. Two, you're going to have to be innovative about the products and or services. People say, well, but what if I'm a cleaning company? You have to be innovative with environmental things and the types of solutions you need. What if I'm a lawn company? You're going to have to be innovative with the type of equipment you use to not emit a bunch of fumes and to get through your job faster. I think innovation is important. But I think more than anything is small businesses have to stop feeling bad for themselves. My least favorite day of the year is Small Business Saturday.
Really?
I hate it. I hate it.
No,
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I don't need a day. I always felt like a special needs child on that day. It's like, hey, we know the other 364 days a year things aren't good for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw you a bone. And on this one day, we're going to put up like good TV commercials and posters, and we're going to tell everybody to shop at your store. I can't help you the rest of the time. And so I don't want to be told that I'm small, shop this small guy. It's like, I would rather say to people, you may not have the same size retail store or the same bank account, but you have this and they have this going for you. You sell a product or service to an individual. You have a relationship with that individual. You have to deliver them something that they cannot get somewhere else and give them a reason to come back. And in certain moments, you may have to give them a reason to pay 2 pennies more, not 20 pennies more. And the reason I make that point is that being a small business owner doesn't give you the liberty to just be like, well, I'm small. I can't buy it for the same. That's why I have to charge you this. You still have to be competitive. You still have to offer the same great service. You still have to do all those things. And so I don't want small business owners to feel like they have these crutches to lean on.
Wow.
Get out. Every big business that you know of started as what?
Small.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, when did small become a bad word? Like I don't think there's anything bad about it. I think we need to celebrate it more.
And on that note, I know you get ready to
Yeah.
take the floor. Thanks so much for your
Thank you.
time.